So, SNL viewers, today we're joined by political leader for Good Party, Miss Patricia. How are you?
I'm doing fine. It's such an honor to be speaking to young people.
I feel like we are in a generation right now, 30 years later. The youth is actually involved. They want to know what exactly is going on, what's going to happen to our future. So I feel like that's why we've become so invested in understanding politics.
But my message to young people, I respect you. I do think that you must make sure as young people that the current generation do not mess up your future. You need to become involved in whatever way, not just in politics. So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for even taking the time to speak to us. How are you feeling towards the upcoming elections now that you've delivered your manifesto?
I'm always positive. I always put my faith in the people of this country. You should never take people for granted. You should never take voters for granted. South Africans are very politically astute. They know exactly what they want. And I put my faith in the voters of South Africa. If they want me to serve another term, they will say so. If they don't, they will also say so. Because we now have choices to make.
Being a woman and entering this space, I believe it might not be easy because it's almost like entering a battlefield among men. How are you striving and making sure that you uphold your values and also represent the people that fall behind you and support you?
You know, let me start with the sacrifices that you have to make. If you want to compete at equal level, you have to play by the rules of that game. But the first sacrifice for a woman is normally your family. You know, you can't be with them as much as you want to. But my family understood from the beginning, and my son even said to me, "Mommy, we are prepared to share you with the nation." Then, of course, when you compete, in the playing field, I believe that you have to show compassion, you have to show empathy, you need to lead with compassion, you need to be genuine, you need to be truthful. And I've developed that over the years. And then, of course, you need to start an organization, you need funding. You need a good administration to underpin an organization. But because of my experience, because I've done it once, this time it was much easier.
You speak about compromises when entering this space. Have you found yourself compromising your values? And what exactly did you find yourself compromising beyond just family?
Yeah, no, maybe I used the wrong word. Sacrificing your family, that is what comes first. No, I don't feel compromised at all. I think if you know your rights and you know where you want to go to, and you remember where you came from, that is the driving force. So there's nothing compromising about it. And you don't have to see it as that way. You just need to see it that I'm part of a nation that wants to build a better future for our country.
Over the years, we've seen youth speak out about their social issues that they're facing. Some even started activism campaigns where they speak out. Yeah. Why is it important for youth to step up and know what's happening around them?
You know, just last week I was in Kwankutle in Kabega, and there was a young man. And when he spoke in the meeting, I just had an open-air meeting there, I could hear that he's articulate, but he was complaining about a lot of things. So I asked him, so what are you doing right now to help yourself? And he said, if you have got time, I can go and show you. You know what he's doing to earn an income? He does biltong and dry sausage. And he have set up, and he lives in a shack. He set up outside this room, you know, with the netting and everything. And I tasted some of the biltong and the dry wors. And then he puts it into packets. And his biggest customers is the community themselves. Just walk over to buy from him. And I said to him, how many other young people do you know that have also taken an initiative? And he said there are many, but there are very few. And that is where we need to intervene with young people. Don't tell them what to do. Give them, like in our case, we're giving young people 1,000 rand. Say, do your business plan, see how you're going to get some money for yourself while you're busy looking for a job, while you're busy studying. You know, you can do something to sustain yourself. And that's why I'm saying we're not talking down to young people. We're saying to young people, come with the ideas and let's see together how we can find solutions.
There are various political parties in this country. Who would you say could be a genuine ally for Good Party in terms of coalition talks?
We have not decided on that. We had our national conference last year. I see many new political parties where their leaders have never been elected by the party structures, you know. But we had our conference, and the conference adopted a policy around coalitions. This is what they have agreed, that a coalition comes about where not a single party gets a 50% plus one. And therefore, you need to form a coalition to achieve that. After the elections, when we are approached as good by any political party, we will go and listen to them. And we will give them our values, our principles, what we stand for, the justices that we are still fighting for. And then we have to go back to our National Executive Committee that will make the final decision. So those are the procedures that we've put in place. But we're currently in coalitions. And some municipality, we coalition with the ANC, and some of the municipalities coalition with the DA, is because, you know, you need that 50% plus one.
Do you feel like coalitions are effective, and is it to the benefit of communities at the end of the day and citizens of the country?
It depends on the leadership of the coalition. Currently, you have got, I'm just trying to get the number now. There are many coalitions that are currently working in the country. There are about 32 coalitions that's unstable at municipal level. I think people tend to look at coalitions as what is happening here in Joburg, in this metropolitan. And they think that's how all coalitions are operating. It's not altogether that. Because coalitions is not whether you like it or not. If the voters have decided that they are not giving any political party a 50% plus one, then you are forced to work together. Yes, it's the reality of our country.
You've witnessed the ups and downs of our current government.
Yes.
What has been some of the flaws that you've witnessed with the current government?
Like we said in our manifesto, that no government should come with a new plan every 5 years. What we are saying in Good is that part of the crises that we are dealing with now is the failure to implement those plans. If we could depart from a point of view to say just implementation, and that is being a failure at some levels of government. So we now have to reflect and look, why are we struggling with good service delivery, and fix it, and not come with a new plan every year. And that's why I have warned the voters that on the 1st of June 2024, nothing is going to change for you as a voter, because you are going to rely on the same existing structure to implement those grand plans. So should it not then be, knowing that the current structure is struggling to implement service delivery, should you not start by reviewing and changing that structure so that when you implement, professionalize that structure, fill all the unfunded posts in government, fix that, and then you can see some differences later on. So that is what I've noticed, and I've served at all three spheres of government. Our failure has been implementation.
How do you plan on making it, how do you plan on, should you get into the space, how do you plan on correcting all of these mistakes?
Well, we must learn from our mistakes. We all make mistakes. But the difference is, if you learn from your mistakes, then you know you are improving. And that's why we are saying we need to review and reform and transform the existing implementing structure. So, first of all, we need to make sure that the right people get into the right positions with the right qualifications. That which political party you belong to should not be a criteria for accessing any jobs in government. The third one is to make sure that you put the right systems in place in government. Systems that can detect corruption, prevent corruption. Making sure that the Employment Equity Act is implemented. That speaks about 50% male and 50% women. You can see it's too male dominated. You fix it by paying women the same pay like you pay male counterparts. So we have put all of those proposals forward, but we need to transform drastically, not just talk about transformation. I want to see and feel transformation. If we say 40% women representation, let's go out and implement it, not just talk about it.
I want to highlight the issue of transformation, just putting it there at the top banner. The youth says, and I say this because we've been on the ground, we've been to Deep Sloot, we've been to Alexandra, we've been to all parts of Joburg. And the main issue that the youth is saying is they have these great plans, how they're gonna help us, how they're gonna deal with our issues. But the problem is we are not represented. Half of the political leaders that are in that space are over the age of 60. What do they know about our needs? What do you have to say about that?
No, I think that's a wrong approach. You see, we should have an intergenerational mix. Because yes, they might be old, but they've got the experience. We need to bring young people in so that they also get that experience and they learn from the ones with the experience. So you are not allowed, in terms of the Constitution, to discriminate on the basis of race, sex, gender, or age. So that's unconstitutional to say that at a certain age you must leave and young people must take over. Young people must get the experience from those ones. But here comes the point. Every 5 years, you get an opportunity in our elections, in this democracy that we fought for, to hold leaders accountable. You should never vote for them again if they failed you. And that is why I said earlier on, you should never give your vote away for any political party. I normally vote this one, no, it's wrong. Because your vote you must use to hold the politicians accountable. And that's why I say to good people and young people, lend us your vote for 5 years. And if after 5 years we are not performing, you vote us out. And the only way to get rid of politicians that have failed to deliver is that those politicians were voted in by you. And the only way to get them out is to vote them out. And that's why this elections is so important, whereby you can now hold those who made those empty promises to you accountable. But I also think there must be more engagements in between the 5 years. We should hold them accountable by taking those manifestos and go to them and say, this is what you said you're going to do. I am not feeling the impact. And if that engagement takes place right through the 5 years, we won't only discover 5 years later that they've not done things. Yes, so I think for me that will be the approach. We now have an opportunity to design our own future. And young people have got that opportunity to design their future now. And that's what gives me hope to this beautiful country.
And just like that, that is how we wrap up Aribuwe with Good Party leader Patricia De Lille. Join us next time for our next episode. Don't forget to subscribe at SNL 24.